Hello and welcome to the studio. Yesterday, Adobe gave us an update to Lightroom Classic. So in this video, we're going to take a look at two of the big new features within it. So let's jump in. So jumping into Lightroom, we're going to work on this image with the new features. So we're going to head into the development tab. And the first feature that we are going to have a look at is this new one, lens blur. So you can see here it's still in early access, which means it's not perfect yet. It actually runs quite slow at the moment. So first thing we're going to do is hit apply, and then it's going to be analyzing the image, and then it will be applying the blur, as you see, to the background. So in this first slider, we can change the amount of blur that is being applied. So more or none. I think more realistically, it's not going to be kind of at 100%, but we'll bring it back a little bit. The next thing we're going to look at is the bokeh. Okay, so the first of the bokeh styles that is already applied is kind of a standard. We then have this kind of bubble one where you can see it looks more like a bubble. I really like this hexagon. And this one's probably the most visually different. You can see the new rings to the bokeh. Gives it a really interesting look. And then there's this one. We then have a boost, so we can pull that down or push it right up. You can see the brightness here at the top is shifting with it. The next thing we're going to do is look at the focal range. So that is this little slider here. You can see that as we move it backwards and forwards, the focus area of the image is changing. So at the moment we're at the front, and then we can switch to the back. Another handy little tool for this is the selector. So we can click on this and then select the part of the image that we want the focus to land on. Another handy tool is the visualization tab. So we're going to hit that. You can see the brighter part of the image is closer to the camera. The darker part of the image is the furthest from the camera. And you can see as we drag this, the white is the area that is going to be in focus. So we can drop it so that Emma is going to be in focus. You can adjust this so more is in focus or less is in focus. And another handy tool is the brushes. So if we click on refine, if it's not already open, just click refine. You can hit focus, and then you get a brush. You can change the amount of focus that you're going to apply. You can change the size of the brush, size of the feather, and the flow, much like you can in any of the brush tools. So what we'll do is bring the size down, and we'll just bring Chris back into focus. Or we can hit blur and do exactly the same, but in opposite. So really handy new tool. As always, I would suggest trying to get that right in camera first, but it is nice to be able to come back and do this kind of thing in post. The next of the new features that we're going to have a look at is in the color mixer. Now, we've still got the old tools, so you have the color or the HSL. They all work exactly the same as they used to, but we do now have this point color tool, which allows us to click this eyedropper and then select color from the image. And you can see we can now shift the hues, shift the saturation and the luminance. But you'll also notice that we can use this little tool here to move it around, which is shifting the hue and saturation. So hue, left to right, saturation up, down. And we also have in here the luma. If you'd like to refine it more, you can click in here, and then this gives you kind of a more precise selection. You can select more of the color or be closer. And again, we also have a visualize range tool similar to the focus. The black and white area is the area that's not going to be affected, and obviously the color is going to be affected. So that is the new color tool. It's a really interesting way to edit the colors in your images. I think it's going to be very powerful. The other tool that's part of this update that we're not going to be going too far into is in the basic. It's this new HDR button, which if you have an HDR monitor gives you some more controls. But I don't have an HDR monitor, so we're not going to be looking into that one in this video. But as you can see, there's a few new tools for you to use. So that is the new Lightroom Classic update. I hope you found this video helpful or interesting. I'd love to know your thoughts about these new updates in the comments. And as always, we will see you in the next one.